So if you're on Instagram and you follow any watch collectors or news outlets that cover watches, you're going to know that there was a new Patek Philippe that was released last week. It came out in some sort of fanfare when originally there was a leaked ad that hit a magazine. There was a weird looking Nautilus in this ad that no one had ever seen before. Now, it wasn't actually a Nautilus. It's something called the Cubitus, which is a very weird name, but essentially it looks like a rectangular squared version of the Nautilus. When I first saw this ad and the news around this ad, people immediately started speculating whether or not it was real. And I think, like a lot of people out there, I thought it wasn't real. It just didn't look like a real watch to me. It just looked half-baked. The design really wasn't all that good, or at least I thought it wasn't all that good. Considering Patek Philippe hasn't released a new line of watches in about 30 years, it's kind of weird that they didn't make a big deal about this release, but either way, they did actually confirm that this is a new watch. They've had press events, they've had Hodinkee take a look at the watches, and these are real watches. They're not made up. People have already started to buy them. Today there was an interview released with the president of Patek Philippe, and there were a lot of quotes from that interview that make him seem like an elitist. Surprise, surprise, he is the head of Patek Philippe. However, this sort of hit a nerve for me because one day I really do aspire to own a Patek Philippe, and I think a lot of people who watch my channel might aspire to own a Patek Philippe as well. I don't think it's cut and dry. I think there are people out there who maybe don't have the money right now, but aspire to own one of their watches in the future. It's the same thing with a lot of things in life. One day you want to own a bigger house, a better car, or a nicer watch. You may not feel that way, and that's okay as well. In fact, it's probably smart not to feel that way, but I do think a lot of people have aspirations for bigger and better in their life, whether for good or for bad. But I do want to focus in on two things that Thierry Stern said. Now, Stern is actually a family member of the owners of the brand. He is president of the brand as well. The first thing that he said that really bothered me was, I don't go to clients with designs. And I'm not sure that that works in this day and age. There are plenty of clients out there that are probably really big Patek Philippe collectors that would have given him some advice on this new model and maybe steered him in a different direction. So maybe if he actually spoke to the people who are buying the watches, it would have made a difference to him, or maybe a difference in the design. That makes a lot of sense to me, and it's actually what a lot of micro brands do. They go out, they talk to the people who are actually buying the watches, and make decisions, sometimes design decisions, based on their feedback. It makes a lot of sense. Maybe they think that they are above that, and that could be the case, but I don't think anybody should be above that, in my opinion. But the second thing that he said is what really irked me, and I think it'll piss off a lot more people than he thinks because of the aspirational client, like I mentioned before. What Mr. Stern said was the haters, and he's referring to the people who are criticizing the design of the Cubitus, are mostly people who have never had a Patek and never will. So that doesn't bother me. So in other words, what he's saying is the people who are actually criticizing this new design, a design that looks very similar to a current design that they make and they've been making for many years, just in a square-ish shape or rectangular shape, I guess. It depends on how you look at it. He's saying those people, the people that are criticizing the watch, have never owned a Patek Philippe and that they never will. It's a very elitist thing to say, and I don't think any other CEO would ever say anything like that. This is a very bad look for Patek Philippe in general, and I really hope that they dial back or at least apologize for these comments. And I'm really sad about that because it does sort of sour me a little bit on the brand, which is kind of ironic because yesterday I didn't have those feelings. I looked at the watch, I didn't like the watch, I just wouldn't have bought the watch. And maybe if it was the right price, maybe I would have bought it. I don't know, I'm not saying that I wouldn't. I'm not a huge fan of the design. I'm not a huge fan of the Nautilus either. So I was never going in that direction to begin with, but There are plenty of Patek Philippe's that I find attractive, specifically their world timers, because I really love the world timer. I actually love their world timers so much, and they're so expensive, but I do want to own one day. And for them to say something like that, I've never owned it. I don't like the Cubitus, but what does that mean? I'm not going to be able to. I don't understand his comment at all. There are plenty of people out there who don't own a Patek Philippe until they own a Patek Philippe. And there are a lot of people out there who can't afford a Patek Philippe right now, but will one day. And that's just the way it is. At one point, I couldn't afford a Seiko, and then I was able to afford a Seiko. And at one point, I wasn't able to afford an Omega, but now I can afford an Omega. It's very disparaging to their customers or potential customers. Tell me what you think down in the comments below. I know this is not the typical video that I make, but I felt this was a very strong comment, or really a couple of comments that Mr. Stern made, and I wanted to put my opinion out there on this topic and talk about it a little bit here on the channel and start a conversation with you guys. So down in the comments, please tell me what you guys think he meant by those comments. Am I wrong? Am I interpreting this wrong? Am I right? Do you agree with me? Give me some reasons why you agree or disagree with me down in the comment section. I really want to hear from you guys. Please also don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell icon. Super helpful for the channel, and I very much appreciate it. Anyway, guys, thank you for logging on. Thank you for watching this video. I will catch you guys in the next video.